All right, hello and welcome to Show Hands Hangout number something. Two new faces, and of course Ron coming back also. I apologize for the quality of my video. My nicer computer died, and I really hope it's not dead forever. But in the meantime, this is what I have. Somewhere or other, buried in a box, is a pretty nice high def camera that can be used as a webcam. I don't know where it is, but it works well enough to be able to do physics experiments, like video physics experiments. So whatever, just have to find it. In the meantime, I will have you introduce yourself, say who you are on the app, what you'd like us to call you here, and are you a pay someone to do it sort of person or a fix it yourself type of person? Probably should have said that backwards. The first part had connotations.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So I'm Kevin, but my username on Show of Hands is PsionicShift with a P. And I don't know, I'm the kind of person that would kind of pay someone to fix it, but my grandpa was a carpenter, so he kind of just like helped me fix whatever I needed to fix. Like he's had like shelves built for me and a closet, and I'm just like, okay, I'll help you. And like we go to Home Depot and build things ourselves, but if I didn't have him, I'd just be like, nah, let someone else do it. So
How long have you been on Show of Hands?
since September 11th of this year.
Okay. Oh, you're really new.
Yeah, so like, why on September 11th did you think, I'm going to try out this new app? Was obviously September 11th comes with a cloud. I didn't know if that had anything to do with it.
Well, the thing is that it didn't have anything to do with like a specific date, like September 11th. It was just a coincidence. But like, I was actually looking for a different app. It was called Political Fury, and it was about the Mitt Romney-Obama election. And it was like an app where you can like post your thoughts and ask questions and have polls and stuff. But unfortunately now the app is dead because it hasn't been updated, because it's still talking about like the Mitt Romney and Obama election. So no one uses it anymore. So then I was searching and I found this app, which is much more alive. So I just got into this app and I really like it. So
I do understand how Political Fury would reroute you here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was totally cool. I mean, the Political Fury app was more updated because when it was alive during that election, like there were tons of people using it, but now it's just like kind of dead. But Show of Hands is a great substitute though. So
very much alive as well.
Cool. Well, how about you, Tom?
But yeah, I'm Tom. I'm 17 million twats in the app, but probably know me better as British guy. Yeah, you can call me Tom, British guy, twats, whatever floats your boat. In terms of DIY, I'm a student, so I'm always broke, but I'd probably just give it to my granddad, to be fair. He's better with that kind of stuff than me. Or I'd just pay someone, probably. I'm a bit lazy.
So what time is it over there in Jolly Good England right now?
In Jolly Good England, it's currently 3:15 in the morning.
Oh, dude. Well, thanks for staying up.
what are you doing up at 3 in the morning?
I'm a student. I mean, anything but work.
Yeah, he's not even started studying yet for his test.
No, I haven't. 5 weeks in, not a single pen lifted.
Well done.
Yes. My name is Ron. I'm ronderman on the app. I have traditionally, throughout most of my life, been a pay anybody that'll do any work for me. But I've got a really close friend who is just the opposite. And so over the past several years, I've built screen porches and movie theaters, and basically I've just helped him do lots of stuff. And currently I'm in the middle of a kitchen renovation. It probably looks pretty normal from everything that you normally see. But if I were to do this, you would see that's my floor. And over here is the stack of hardwoods that are about to be put down.
Nicely done. Has it been sitting there long enough?
I see.
Yeah, they've been there for about a week. They've got to be in the house 2 weeks to acclimate to the house, like to get all the humidity and stuff where it's supposed to be. And so they will go down on next Monday, and then the cabinets will be painted and countertops will be changed, and so trying to do all that. Anyway, I did all that demo myself, saved about $2,000. But as far as the actual work, they'll be doing the work, and I'll watch and probably get in their way trying to help, that type of thing. So I'm kind of both at this point.
Okay. Susan wants to know, Ron, if you're doing okay. There's something on your chin.
Oh, yeah. My wife is headed out of town this week, and if she doesn't complain about me not shaving, then I just don't shave. And so since she's headed to San Francisco, I think she's going to go visit Stiletto Miss for business.
Yeah.
But she'll be gone for several days, and she just hasn't complained about it. So I'm sure it'll be clean shaven next week.
You look like me, mate.
That's right. I could get there. I just, the wife doesn't like it. That's my problem.
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Exactly. When the cat's away, the mice will just get lazy and not shave. That's what we'll do.
I was on something like day 3, but I went running today, and I thought, no, I'm done.
What? Too much wind drag? You can't run with scruff on your face?
Oh no, I came back. I ran. My older 2 kids rode their bikes while I ran, and they're fast. So usually I try and do something like 4 miles a day, and do right in the area of 9-minute miles, because I figure I can stretch that. And then kind of build it up, and then I'll do that same pace for 26 miles. But today they were really pushing, so I was doing 6:15 miles today, and I was dying.
It's pretty impressive, to be fair.
I didn't know I could do that anymore, but it felt good. But it was just the sort of thing where you see them far enough ahead of you, and you're like, oh, there's a road up there. Oh no, there's a road up there. So you take off, and I don't know. It was fun. But then I got back, and I was a sweaty mess, and I just said, no, I'll shave now. This is a good time for it.
Well, it's nice that you dressed up for us.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
I'm Firefly 5 on the app, Gaitin in real life, and I am much more of a fix-it-myself sort of person. Whenever I'm able. I just had to replace the water pump in my car, though, and that was not a fix-it-myself thing. I wish it could have been, but...
No, cars are a different beast, dude. No, I don't even want to change my own oil, so...
this was just a little too buried in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small car, and it's hard to get at some things. I do the brakes, and I do the oil, and I do that sort of thing, but this is just too far in there.
Yeah, I had to get something was wrong with my car. I had to get the gasket replaced. Had blown or something like that. Was quite a bit of money, but I couldn't do that myself, because I don't know like anything about cars. Like, So like I said, I'm like to pay someone else do it for me. I have no idea what I'm doing. So
Yeah, for instance, I'm pretty sure that a water pump pumps water, but that's about all I got.
It's a good guess.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Solid.
quick that way, you know.
It's because of an issue with the water pump. I was losing coolant, and that's. I mean, if it could have waited a couple months, I honestly probably would have made it through months of the winter without even really having it come up.
But isn't that like an antifreeze or something? I mean, you would need antifreeze being where you are, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we need all sorts of ugly stuff. But it's good. Let's see, we have Ron or Ron S. I'm still not sure. After several years, I still don't know. It's terrible. Likes 50s music.
Okay, for what that's worth.
Yep.
All right.
One moment, my cat is being annoying.
Love Squirt made a comment about it, which I thought was kind of funny considering the username. So, question: what do you like to do in your spare time? Do you have hobbies? And then, are you single and have kids?
That's right. Let's get into our first question. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Yes.
My spare time. Well, I like to play video games like Overwatch, League of Legends, watch YouTube videos. But now that I'm a student, I don't have very much spare time at all, do I? So I'm always busy. I finished a paper at 3 a.m. So yes, I don't have very much spare time. Or going to the gym. I literally, like, when I was called for this video call, I had literally just gotten, I wasn't even in my house. I'm back from the gym. Like, I just got back from the gym. So, like, that's a fun thing too. I play racquetball with my brother. So
okay.
So Kevin, you're currently in college, is that right?
Yeah. I go to University of Nevada, Las Vegas, which is the same university that the third presidential debate is being held at. So my classes are canceled because there's like Secret Service and everyone over there right now. So the only class I have is one on Thursday afternoon. But other than that, I haven't had any classes this week. So
cool. That's kind of college I could get into there.
Yep.
I have a friend who I had a friend in high school who was going to go to UNLV, and I don't know if she ended up there or not. We completely lost touch, but I knew someone who was going out that way, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because, like, Nevada is the lowest in public education, like the lowest level. So everyone thinks that UNLV is like a really terrible option, but I don't think so, because I went to Denver for my first year of college, and then I decided to move back here. I don't see much of a difference. I mean, because I went to University of Denver, which is like a private college, and it's supposed to be like top of the line or whatever. Then I came back to UNLV, which is a public college, and there's not that much of a difference. So I mean, the high schools are pretty bad, the high schools and middle schools, but UNLV itself I think is fine. So I mean,
at the end of the day, mate, if it gets you where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, going to college, you have to, thinking about where you want to go is always a tough decision. Because, I mean, the reason I went to Denver University is because the English program is really good there. And I'm an English major. So you always have to, like, how's the weather going to be? like, what do you want to accomplish? The weather in Denver was terrible. Oh my God. But
Yeah, I'm British. I know all about
yeah,
that.
I came back here. Good decision, I think. So I couldn't deal with the snow every morning. I had to scrape the ice off my car. It was terrible. But yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine going from Denver to Denver from Vegas is quite a bit of a change. So
Yeah, I mean, Vegas is like my hometown. So when I went to Denver, like in the spring, in the summer it's nice, but it snows like all the way through April. So it's just miserable during the winter time, and it's just like I couldn't wait to move back here, like where it's always sunny and like never snows, which is good. So
Hey, it never snows here. It's just always raining.
Mm-hmm.
that's right. You get a lot of rain out there.
yeah,
Oh, we get a lot of rain.
Well, what?
I wish it rained once in a while. It never rains here.
I wish it would stop raining.
And
Maybe
Kevin,
we could do a bit of a trade.
Kevin, I assume you're single.
Yes,
With no children?
I am.
That was the last part of that question. How about you, Tom?
Yes.
What do you do in your spare time?
Well, I'm European, of course. I play bloody football, but yeah, that's video games. I play. Well, back home I play PlayStation, but up here they got an Xbox, so I play that quite a lot. I said about football, I watch quite a lot of rugby because I'm Welsh. I would, and I drink a lot of beer. But that's all generic European stuff, sort of.
Yeah, you're fitting right into the stereotype so far.
I am. I'm even wearing a football shirt, so.
Well, I thought that was a soccer jersey. I didn't realize it was a football jersey.
Let's not get into that.
And I assume you're single as well.
Of course I am.
All right. Yeah, just a couple of young bucks here with us this week.
The youngsters, the babies, correct.
That's right. God, the sad thing is y'all could probably be my children. Okay. As I am married and have 3 children, for those of you who don't know, I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I got lots of spare time. So until yesterday, what I did in my spare time was I was what Tom would call a football coach. I coached my son's soccer team for his school. So, and we won one of our games. It was quite exciting, but we won't talk about the rest of them. So, but yeah, that's mostly what I do in my spare time.
I too am married and have 3 kids. So my spare time right now, like I run. Yeah, I run. I'll play. I was telling. So I work. I work at a small college. That is sadly about an hour's drive from me. But I was talking with my students, and one of them was saying, like, "But you're a physicist. You're probably busy all the time, right? Like, what did you do on Friday after work?" Home and played Legos with my kids for a couple hours, and then we went out for ice cream. So it's I don't know. It's strange, kind of busy. There's always something going on, but it's always I don't know. I think it makes sense when you have young kids. You're never really sitting still, but you don't necessarily have a strict schedule of A, B, and C.
No, if you're sitting still too long and you got kids that age, they will either do something without you that will cause you to get up, or they'll beg you to do something with you that will cause you to get up. So
either way, you're getting up.
Yeah.
Either way, you're getting. You might as well be getting into trouble with them instead of finding them getting in trouble. That's the key.
And then Julie said she would probably jump on when she got here, but incidentally, coming back from the gym.
As is her normal on Tuesday nights. Let's see. Jack Tor S has a question for those of us that have been on the app for 3 years or so. How would you rate the evolution of the app compared to when you first joined? And do some things need to revert back the way they were back then? Is it better or worse? What would you change? You've been on longer than I have, Guyton, so what do you say?
I think I like it. I honestly think I like it better than I did. I like that more people are more involved. I like that user polls seem to be drifting away from, do you prefer cats or dogs? But and there were a handful of users that I very much didn't mind losing, though at the same time there were a handful of users that I wish we didn't have to lose. But the people kind of come and go, and in that respect I think you have to expect that. I'm trying to think of what the big changes have been. I like that it's 1,000 characters now.
That was huge.
Instead of 250.
It used to be, I don't know if either of you even know, because y'all are both relatively new. It used to be that in the comments section you had a maximum of, was it 250?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was just a pain.
Terrible.
What is that, like Twitter?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like on Twitter. So it was just a
terrible
breath of fresh air when we were able to expand out to the 1,000. To me, that's been the biggest change.
That is the
whole
best.
purpose of a comments section, right?
Yeah, you can write what you want.
The whole purpose is to have a conversation. How can you have a conversation when, like, you're forced to restrict yourself? You know.
Yeah, well, it just ended up people had like 4 or 5 comments in a row. But by the time you got finished writing your third comment, someone had already answered something in the first, and it just got really confusing.
Oh,
you would see conversations that looked like the end of my science polls, and I'm like, I feel guilty about those from time to time. If the explanation goes past like 2 comments, I start to be like, yeah, it's probably too much. I keep going, obviously, but I sometimes feel guilty about it. The other big thing that's changed, small thing that's changed, but that I think is really nice and it's recent, is that there's now a reply button on every single comment in a thread, so you don't have to read the thread and then say, I'd like to reply, scroll back up to the top, find the reply, and then that you can reply from where it is. So that's been the other big change that I've liked.
That's good.
But yeah, there've been small changes throughout. But I for me, since I've been on, technically I downloaded it about 4 years ago for the last election. I didn't really get active till about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. But over that, just with the presidential election, you've seen it evolve into heavily politics. I've not seen a good religion poll in a month or 2. You know,
that good or bad thing.
Yeah, but you know, once the presidential election dies down, then that'll move back, and we'll lose a lot of subscribers simply because they were just for the presidential. But then there's going to be people come back because they don't like the presidential. So we'll have a different group of users in 4 months from now than we have now. But you know, like I said, it's good not to have those cat versus dog polls. Now we just have who you voting for polls.
They do get annoying after a while.
Yes, especially
especially when you can't even vote.
Exactly.
Just watching it on the
I've seen
sidelines. Like, what are you doing?
7 polls in a row. You know, like for the last debate, like 7 polls in a row are like, who do you think will win the debate? Who do you think will win the debate? Who do you think will win the debate? You know, and it just goes on like that. So I mean, I myself post, I do post those polls, so I'm guilty of that too. But I try to not post only political polls. You know, I try to have a variety. So I reach like a broader audience. I mean, I can't really say. I only have like 60 or so followers, so I don't have that many followers to begin with. But I mean, I know that if I stick with only one topic, that I'm not going to get very many. So I mean,
got to diversify a bit.
Well, after you've been on the show tonight, you may have like 62 to 72 followers. So you know, now that you're getting your name out on Hangout, there's sky's the limit.
Free publicity.
That's right.
yay!
It does help to put names to faces, though. It's pretty cool to see, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm not a names guy. I'm terrible with names. So
Especially people who have like a couple letters and then 5 numbers afterwards. I'm terrible with it, and I'm a numbers person. But like Ron, when you and I, if we ask about a user or something, I don't know if you've seen, it's always like 2 letters and then parentheses, and I'll just write numbers.
Numbers. That's right.
I just can't remember. Then for a while there were 2 users, and maybe about a year ago, 2 users that had the same couple letters and their numbers were similar. And I kept thinking they were the same person, and then just one time I happened to see them debate each other. Oh, you're 2 different people.
Kind of
That's
Michael Jackson and Janet. I never saw them in the same room together. You know?
For me, I suppose the biggest change has been that it's not really a software thing, but that there's more people from outside of America now. I mean, still not that many, but you know, I mean, the main one that comes to mind is Ginger Fascist, and he's Irish, so it's good to see a few more, even if they are sort of opposite ends of the spectrum to me politically.
It's great to have you guys out there because I mean we're in our bubble here. America, we have a reputation that we've earned that we're the only country on the planet. We're the most important thing ever, and it's nice to be reminded that there are other people out there that are
do exist.
Up at 3 o'clock, when we're up at 10. So,
and I was one of the first. So,
yeah,
I've been on about a year and a half, and I remember I was like, always, "Are you actually British or are you just American?" It's like, last time I checked, I was properly British.
and you're in Wales, or?
I'm from Wales, but I'm at university in England at the moment. So
where?
Leeds. It's up north. Like not a million miles away from Scotland, but still a little bit of a trek.
Now, and you do kind of look like Harry Potter in a broom closet there. What kind of are you in a lean-to or what? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So.
Can't really tell Harry Potter. I've got a German flag behind me. Traitor.
It's very confusing to those of us who don't really know any of that stuff. Okay. Where's our next question? Do we want to tackle have we noticed any inconsistencies with the policing of the app? Unjustified banning and all that jazz?
I have seen less banning recently than there was a stretch some time ago where you would hear people, you would see all the time, such and such has been banned for a week, such and such is gone for who knows how long. And then after, oh, there was one guy. He was, I don't remember his name. He would antagonize and always try and push people's buttons. But after he left, either way, then it seemed there was less banning going on. Whether it's uneven now, I don't know. I see very little of it, but follow a million people, and the main polls, I will jump into the comment sections, but if I see a thread that's already really long, most of the time if I don't, no, most of the time, unless it's the right handful of people, I kind of avoid it. So
I
it's
mean,
probably gone.
Oh, sorry. I was unaware that such a thing was even possible. I mean, I didn't even know people could be banned from this app. So, if anything, like I haven't seen any of it. So, but then again, I'm new, relatively speaking, I guess. So, I mean, as for inconsistencies, I haven't really noticed any inconsistencies with the app. I mean, like one day it'll be going kind of fast, and then one day it'll be really slow, and I have to click like 5 times for it to like do what I want it to do, you know. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really noticed anything that stands out, I don't think. So I don't know, maybe I'm just missing something.
Yeah, there, like Guyton was saying, there were a few back in the day that were just really confrontational, and you know, it's a debating app. You're going to have arguments, but you know, there are some people that just took it too far, and
Of course.
And so, you know, they would just get really nasty really quick, and they were consistent. But
of course, you know, like I can get nasty too, but I always try to be respectful. I mean, it is a debating app. I mean, like that's the whole purpose of the discussion section, and so you can like, because what is the purpose of a poll? Like the purpose of a poll is so you get like results, and so you see how people fare one way or the other. But like polls aren't perfect, and so that's what the discussion section is for. So people can find like compromises or things that like alternatives, and like debate like every possible avenue of whatever the poll is talking about, like every issue. And so it's like a conversation, but I always try to be as respectful as possible. I will admit it. I'm not 100% of the time. 99% of the time, I'm respectful. But I mean, yeah, when you take it too far, it's just like it's not very becoming, because you're not going to change anyone's mind. You know, like if your goal is to change someone's mind or like convince them, you're not going to change their mind by being rude to them. You know, like if you're respectful and like show them your side of the argument, then maybe they'll listen to you. So
I mean, there's no point fighting with absolutely everyone that disagrees with you on absolutely everything, is there?
yeah,
It's like the whole football soccer argument. You're never going to call it football. I'm never going to call it soccer. Just leave it at that.
There is a definite lean on the app, a definite political lean, and that's interesting because it doesn't. It's interesting for me because it doesn't align with my own leanings. So I have seen a broader range of. I guess I've seen different things that oppose my own thoughts that I didn't even know existed. Like I've known some people who were pretty far right, and then there was show of hands. Like, there are some things where I honestly didn't know there were people who thought that.
It's always interesting for me as well because the difference in like what we consider conservative and what you consider conservative. It's that I grew up in a relatively conservative area by our standards, but we would be pretty liberal if we were in America. And some of the things I read on the app, I'd never ever hear said at all anywhere in Britain, unless it was coming out as some, crackpot Boris Johnson-esque sort of wacko that no one takes seriously. And now you got Donald Trump going president.
Yeah, I mean, some things on the app, like, I have never even thought about. And so I'll answer one way. And then when I really think about it, like, if I think about it, sometimes I think about it like the whole day. Like, I'll have to reconsider because it bothers me, a question, and I don't know my own answer. So I'll be thinking about it like the whole day, and I'll be like, you know what? I feel this way. And I'll go back to the poll and I'll change my answer before it closes, because like, so it's very rare, but like some of the polls I just really have to think like, oh my God, like how do I feel about this? And then I go in the discussion section and see how other people are thinking, and I'm like, that's a good point, or like, oh, that's a good point too. And it's just like, some of these the polls are like really thought provoking, and I think that's what the polls should be. They should be thought provoking, and they should challenge your beliefs, because if you come across polls that only serve to affirm your beliefs, you're never going to challenge your own way of thinking, and I think we should always be like questioning ourselves and like looking at every option,
Right.
Question the way you think. Why do you think that way? What's your reasoning behind that?
Yeah, that's why I prefer to, I don't want just people following me that agree with everything I say. If you don't disagree with me, then I can't learn from you, and you can't learn from me. So I mean that's part of why I'm on that. I want to hear other opinions, and then I convince you that I'm right. That's pretty much what we do. So
I'm fine with debating as long as it's friendly. It's when it gets a bit bitter. That's when it just gets a bit much, doesn't it? And when it's over really trivial things that don't really matter, it's like, why am I fighting with you? It's a bit naff.
Yeah.
Now, Guyton, I would like to say that you're a foreigner as well. I would really appreciate you having a fun accent. It really enhances the experience. So that's an aside. That's, there we go. What's our next question?
Maybe I'll just cycle through a different one each week for a while.
That'll work. Yeah. I'll see if I can
come up. I can.
Yeah, being as I don't have an accent, I'll see if I can come up with something.
Oh, you definitely have an accent.
Well, I'm sure you have an accent to Tom, right?
Yeah, you do.
And then, of course, Kevin, you've not seen the show, but every week, the user who is now Low Fidelity Jen, who used to be Jenna Brooklyn, sends out like this big, huge list of names. Of questions. And she has recently changed her name. So, and her first question is, what do we think of her new username? So, I'll tackle that one. I loved Brooklyn. It's tough for me to get used to the Low Fidelity Jen, simply because I'm not a name guy. So I have to concentrate hard to remember that it's Jenna Brooklyn. But that's just me. So, is anybody else having an issue with her new name?
I was unaware of her old name, but what is her new name? Low Fidelity Jen?
Yeah, Jen? Low Fidelity Jen. So and according to some of her question that we'll get to, I believe the Low Fidelity has to do with low fidelity music. So that's because that's her next question is, do you enjoy lo-fi music? Which I didn't even know was a thing until I saw the question. So it's hard to enjoy something if you don't know it's there. Kind of like European football. So
kind of like American football.
I mean, I have no idea what low fidelity music is. If I heard it, I would recognize it, but probably not. So I mean, hey, if you like your username, go for it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you your username is bad, but I just have no idea what it is. But I'm sure there's lots of people that do know what that is. So that's just me, though. So.
Well, according to the all-inclusive Wikipedia, lo-fi music is a lower quality of sound recordings than the usual standard for modern music.
That's like older stuff.
Well, it's not necessarily older stuff, but I think it's recorded with older technology, so it doesn't sound the same as new stuff.
So like some Dixieland music there.
Well, I guess I would equate it to, you know, the TV show Seinfeld came out before high definition. So if you were to watch a TV show filmed with the same cameras and the same style as Seinfeld was, but it was produced today, that would kind of like throwback stuff. So Jenna, I don't know if I'm representing your low fidelity up to your standards, but that's what I get out of it. So I guess that answers your question. I don't really know what it is.
With that, I don't have a problem with like lo-fi, like TV or music, I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because I haven't really watched or heard any of it. Maybe I have, but I just can't like right now. So I don't know.
Well, I looked up a bunch of names, and actually the only name that I recognized was Abe Vigoda, but evidently it's just a band that borrowed his name. You know, Abe Vigoda was an actor that died recently. He's like 90, 100 years old. Yeah, he's really old, old as dirt. You know, he's like the male Betty White for a long time. He was really, really old. But so evidently this band thought he was cool, and so they took his name. But anyway, let's see. Would you rather have too much time or too little?
Too much. Too much. Definitely too much.
Too much.
It's got to be too much. I mean,
I could do whatever I wanted and then be bored.
Too little, you're just always rushing.
I could afford to procrastinate.
Yeah, you two have no idea how much time that you have. Let's go ahead and explain this to you. Now, granted, I'm the stay-at-home dad, and I really have no responsibilities whatsoever. So I don't have a really big soapbox to stand on. But you have more time than you will ever have in your life right now because you're responsible for yourself, dude. You know, wait till you have kids and you're responsible to wake them up, feed them, clothe them, all that.
That's a good point.
I mean, I was very, very busy in college. I took more than 20 credits per semester, and I worked 2 full-time jobs. It was horrible. And then after college, Julie and I got married, and then we had a kid. And I remember there was a stretch of time when we just had the one. We thought, man, this is pretty busy. Like, we're always doing that. And then we kind of got into a groove, and then we had our second. And I remember we looked at each other and said, no, this is what busy is. You know, like it was, and you know, now with 3, we have now our friends are starting to have kids more, and it's kind of fun to see from the outside, like every moment is taken up. We have this baby, and we kind of now look at each other and get to do the half smug, you know, your kid takes naps. Like,
I wish I took naps, to be fair.
Tom is still taking naps. So, yeah, he'll probably have them tomorrow because he goes up all night tonight.
So it's 4.
Yeah, see, I'm on the other side of that equation. My kids are old enough. Like, I think I saw my daughter for 20 minutes today because either she was at school or locked herself in a room. You know, it's what 14-year-old girls do. So, but it's have you done your homework? And you got to transport them everywhere. And I guess my next big change will be when she's old enough to drive her brothers everywhere. So, but I mean, I'm basically a taxi at this point. So
my mom says she's our limo driver. When I was younger, she's like, "What am I, a limo driver?"
It's the way it goes. So
the opposite when I learned how to drive, because we do it. 17 is the youngest you can learn to drive here. I ended up driving my dad around everywhere because he just wants to go to the pub.
Again, fitting into those stereotypes there, Tom. Just, got you right in that niche.
Not all drunk all the time.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like you're the one sitting right next to him. You said, what do you do in your spare time? You drink a lot of beer. So.
I'm a student, and it's legal.
All right, Kevin, did you just plug something in? Because we're getting a lot of static and feedback.
Oh, sorry, I plugged in my headphones. Should I unplug them?
Oh, it's fine now. It's just gone.
Yeah, it just went away. We'll let you know if it comes back. Well, actually,
Okay,
now
good. I can unplug them.
Yeah, better. Much better. Yeah.
Happy days.
Any better?
You plug them into the microphone jack. Little
yeah, I plugged in my headphones, my earbuds. But I took them out now. Is the static gone?
Yeah, completely.
Okay, I'll just keep it like this. This is fine.
I was going to say a little known fact: microphones and speakers are almost identical in wiring. If you have headphones like earbuds or whatever, and you need, for some specific reason, a makeshift mic that won't give you good quality, but it'll pick up the sound at least. You can just talk into it.
That's pretty cool.
And that's the benefit of having a scientist on the show every week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Does anybody have a favorite bird species?
No.
I can't even name a bird species.
I like chickens when they're eggs. I really like eggs.
They're delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a favorite bird.
Well, the North Carolina, the state bird. Oh, what is that?
Swan.
A swan?
All swans in England are owned by the Queen.
They're what?
They're owned by the Queen. They're the Queen's property. You can't. If you kill a swan in England, it's like a crime.
Get out of here!
Really?
The Queen, yeah.
Do they put you in the stockades like they used to and stuff?
They burn you at the stake.
What, was it a big thing to hunt swans before she owned them all? I mean,
it's one of those things. It's like one of those laws they made back in the day and never bothered to change. It's like it's illegal to wear a suit of armor in Parliament.
Huh.
But
was that swan law made for this queen, or was that made long ago and she just inherited it?
Well before.
Huh.
It'd probably been like, I mean, I don't know, but I would guess probably one of the Georges.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
Now, are we? Does she own all of the swans, or just the ones in England? I mean, can I go shoot a swan?
Go to Wales. Probably don't care.
Okay.
I think it's probably all of them in the UK, but they say England.
Okay.
England, UK, same thing.
So if a swan gets out of England, if a swan was
Escapes
born
the
in
fight.
England and somehow gets out of England,
Good
can
question.
you kill it?
Okay, let's
shoot it.
Let's say a swan somehow finds its way over to ginger fascist.
Back to Dublin.
Okay. Yeah. If Ginger shoots and cooks the swan, is that an international incident? I mean,
that's fine.
is that okay? Because
Make national news.
These are
Just
things
do it Belfast.
that we need to know. I mean, does Donald Trump need to make a wall to keep the swans out?
Yeah, we're building a wall in Calais.
That's a problem. Next thing you know, she'll be taking all the geese too. Okay.
another Canadian.
Do either of you guys have a significant other?
No,
No.
I wish.
Well, then I guess this one's just for you and me, Guyton. How did you know that your significant other was the one?
I did. We dated for less than 3 months when I proposed. It was right.
You needed your green card.
I,
What it was?
I do get that question a lot too. No, I have had a green card for a good long while. I needed her father to come back from a missions trip in Kenya to be able to ask him first. Otherwise, we probably would have been inside of 2 months. But he was out doing good somewhere, and I had to wait. It was funny too because I proposed. Julie was coming back from a missions trip a medical trip in Belize, and so I'm sitting at the airport waiting for her with a ring, and then her flight's delayed, like hours and hours. It was pretty funny. Much more so in hindsight.
Probably annoying at the time.
It was just like, you kind of get ready for something and then you wait. But that's all right. Worked out well.
Well, the first time I saw my wife, I was my dad was pastor, and so he had just accepted a job at a new church, and I was in college, just started college, and there was a high school dinner planned that night, and so I didn't know anybody. I walk into this big party basically, and I was walking through 40, 50 people, and suddenly I heard this belch that sounded like it was coming from the pits of hell, and I looked over, and there was this pretty blonde girl that just won a belching competition, and I knew that was the woman for me. So that was the first time I met her. Now, actually, she really didn't like me initially because I had dated one of her friends, and let's just say her friend was more committed to the relationship than I was. But it took a few years to soften her resolve. But I guess when we dated more than 3 months, that was when I knew. So how about you, Julie? Did you know when did you know that Guyton was the one?
She's still deciding.
Yeah.
Jury's still out.
Jury's still out on that one.
So Kevin and Tom, this is Julie. Every week she works out on Tuesday nights, and she when she's done, she comes and hangs out with us for a few minutes.
I know I got to get started on your treats.
It's a nice deal.
Yeah.
I have a lot of meetings on Wednesdays, and Julie has decided that she is going to start making treats and desserts for meetings.
Nice.
Pretty good.
It's a really good deal.
I have a couple meetings coming up next week, Julie. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you some more pandas. You like those pandas?
Oh yeah, they're gone. By the way, they did not last long.
We can send them some almonds.
We're gonna remake those almonds.
Yeah, we're gonna remake those.
I mean, they were delicious.
They tasted fine. They just didn't work.
Just A for effort.
I made cinnamon roasted almonds, and it works out really well. And it's something like you stick them in a crock pot, and you just have to stir it every 20 minutes for a handful of hours. But if you're watching a movie, watching a couple shows or whatever, and you put the crock pot right next to you, putting alarms on your phone, your timer for 20 minutes, and stir, and then you're right back to watching, and it works. Also, your whole house smells like cinnamon roasted almonds then, which is a nice
That
smell.
sounds so nice.
But
Mastered
at
stir.
the end,
I'll post a link to the recipe, or he'll post a link to the recipe if
yeah,
you guys
Yes.
want.
do.
yeah, I'll put it in this poll. But it's nice, and
Maybe I'll make some honey roasted almonds or cinnamon roasted almonds for next week. That would be awesome.
Have those is like when I go to like a carnival or something, you know, like the carnivals and festivals have those like those almonds, but I can't
But they're
find
like
them anywhere else. I would
$8
have to
for
like, go to like a
this.
special store or order them online or something. So I mean,
Yeah, turns out
that'll be really cool to learn how to
you
make
can
them
make them
myself.
for the price of almonds.
Yes, I
I'm gonna
love
need me
them. Those they're so good.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I'm getting on the other way, so. Anywho,
Let's
but
see.
anyway, beach vibe. Shut up.
But as it turns out, at the very end, you add a little water in there, and that's what makes it like crunch up.
mm-hmm.
And when you double the recipe, you are not supposed to double the water.
Oh, good to know.
Is
But
this
you
what's
did.
with the- You guys follow Doll at all?
No, that's not it.
DAW.
I don't think so.
Well, if you follow her, one of her, or you can look up her poll. She did a poll about crock pots, and I posted this recipe in her poll. I'll look it for it real quick. But yeah, it's super easy. Then it smells really yummy, scrumptious, and then it's honestly like a great like Christmas gift too, because you know
Because those things cost a ton,
they do.
but you can make a lot of them for
What am I doing?
$10.
How do I look her up?
Go over here.
Here? No.
Here and go to people.
People. Oh,
It has been a long time since you've been on the app.
I know.
She has switched phones and now has a phone that has space.
Okay.
So she's like, yeah, I can.
Doesn't work. There it goes.
I think if you attack it a little more, it'll work.
Hey,
faster.
you know what? I'm just saying.
Let's see. What's another question? Should we travel to Mars, and should it be publicly funded or privately funded?
I think if we can, good.
What was the question?
Definitely.
I'm sorry, you cut out. If we
Dude,
travel to Mars, what?
Should we travel to Mars, and should it be publicly funded or privately funded?
I just posted in the poll.
So
I mean, we should if we can. I don't really care if it's public or private. Just get there in one piece.
Get there. I don't know. We should ask Matt Damon. I mean, he's been there.
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
like we're able. That'd be so cool. As for like public or private, I feel like if some of the world's organizations can agree that yes, in fact, we should go to Mars, like NASA, the UN, like if all the
Yeah.
top yes, then maybe it should be publicly funded. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but it would be so cool. We could go though. That would be really awesome.
Well, how about you, Mr. Scientist? Is it important that we go to Mars?
I think we should go to Mars.
Hell no! Oh wait, I'm just kidding.
I think we should go to Mars, and I would argue that we would benefit from having it be publicly funded. I think a lot of innovations came from the space race in the past,
Space race.
and
Yeah.
I think a lot of innovations would come from another one. I also think that if it were privately funded, you would have one or two companies that would hoard all those innovations, and then the rest of us mere mortals have to wait an extra, handful of decades until we get a shot at it. And I'm not about it. I think there's enough money that we spend on I think there's enough money that we spend on really, really stupid stuff that maybe collectively it would be worth taking a look at just what we're spending this money on and saying, instead of all this thing with it. But I'm also, but I'm also a bit cynical about it because I do hear all the time on this app and in the rest of life about how there seem to be a lot of people who think that public money shouldn't be spent on research and science, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
I think you're right. I think most of the young people, all you rookies out there, y'all, I think most of the millennials don't understand the advances that we made during the late 60s and early 70s and what the leaps that science took in order to get us to the moon. I mean, the microwave. I mean, life with the microwave would not be possible had we not gone to the moon and needed that technology. There's just so much that we learned in that 10 years that and there's also something to be said about having a goal that the entire country can work towards. That's not a war, I mean, World War II was great to have a goal, let's all beat the Nazis, but it was even better when Kennedy stood up there and said, hey, you see that thing out there? We're going to go get it. We're going to be the first there. And we wanted to be the Russians. Not to leave you out, Tom, but that's
hey, we land on a comment.
Well, hey, woo-hoo. And that's really cool too.
It would be good to be able to unite under something, because we haven't in a long time, and it's probably been it's been a long time since, not even just a cause, but for anything. I think the most uniting thing we've seen in the last while was, maybe the 5-6 weeks following 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And even after that was gone fast, really fast, like shamefully fast, honestly.
No, and that was 15 years ago. I mean, these two guys probably. I mean,
I was 3 when that happened.
So you don't even remember 9/11?
No, not at all. My parents did.
How about you, Kevin? Do you remember it?
No, I don't remember it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been 15 years since our country had a common goal, and even then, the common goal didn't last but for a few weeks. Before that, the common goal that I can remember was back with Reagan when he was, trying to defeat communism and tearing down the USSR and, bringing down the wall that separated Germany. We were all pretty much, we had a common enemy at that point. But there's something to be said for a country that's united, and our at least America hasn't been united in a very long time. So,
Europe's the same way. We're very divided right now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Britain. Britain's probably the worst. What with Brexit and all that lovely, wonderful stuff going on.
Yeah, you guys messed that one up.
We did.
That was bad.
It was horrible.
But
all right. Well, our next question, I know how Guyton's going to answer this. Have you ever had a near-death experience?
yes.
Yes. When I was younger, like maybe like 9 or something, my cousins were visiting, and they're my older cousins. They like have kids and everything, but they were visiting, and we just like took a walk. There was sort of like this cliff. Like I don't remember like exactly where it was, but all I know is that there was a cliff, and I almost fell off, and they caught me right before I fell off the cliff. So I might not be here if they didn't catch me right before I fell. But that's all I remember. It was so long ago.
How about you, Tom?
Not really. I mean, the closest I really get is when I was younger. I almost got run over by an ambulance in a hospital car park. But that's
Wait. And a what? A hospital car park?
yeah, like a parking lot, I believe you call it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Just figure that out.
Translation. But that's really the closest I get. I mean, I used to run off all the time when I was literally like 4 or 5, and I just almost ran out from this ambulance, and it's not very exciting, but that's about it. I didn't die.
Well, go ahead, Guyton. Tell him your fun story.
I was walking on a frozen lake and I fell into it. I fell through the ice and got stuck underneath and couldn't find my way back up.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. And
Scary.
yeah, it was scary. And I was young, and most of the ice was frozen enough that bit of ice wasn't. I was also by myself, and that was not a good decision. But most of the ice was pretty frozen because, I mean, there were cars parked on the ice, and you kind of figure you're in decent shape then. But I was not. I ended up getting a mild case of hypothermia and just stayed in bed for. I think that was the longest I've ever slept, and probably to this day. I remember the first night I slept 16 hours, and I don't think I've slept that long in a night ever since.
What are we talking about?
Have you ever had a near-death experience?
Yeah. I think a couple times. No?
You should elaborate.
First time I almost drowned. That was not fun. What is it? Oh, I gotta put stuff in. Hang on a second.
There's a focus problem over there.
This is a dessert problem. The oven's preheated.
The closest thing I've come to a near-death experience, I ran with scissors once. But that's as dangerous as I've ever been.
Scissors once.
My wife did ask me once if her butt looked big in those pants. That was a close one.
So to handle that, he wore those pants.
Yeah, that was more of a question of my wisdom than a near-death experience. But no, I've not ever had anything like that.
Your near-death experience.
Oh, so the first time I almost drowned in a pool. My sister was supposed to be watching us. We were at her friend's house, and there wasn't that like buoy that tells you where the deep end starts. So we were just playing and not really paying attention, and I hit that deep end. And I just kept sliding down. It's a horrible feeling, honestly. Not good. Can we count Tristan a near-death experience?
Yeah. Nothing, bud. You're fine.
Hi, buddy. So, with our first pregnancy was like the best pregnancy ever. I felt great. I was loving it until like
7.5.
He tried to escape early, and that wasn't awesome. So then I got put on bed rest for a while. which is like, okay, whatever. And then my blood pressure started to get really high. And have you ever had to, like, I know for dudes it's a lot different, but have you ever had to do like a 24-hour urinalysis test? They give you like one of those biohazard jugs and you have to pee in it for 24 hours, right? Well, could you imagine like this 8.5 month pregnant lady trying to pee in this jug, right? Except I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Just hope and pray that this goes in the right spot? Like, what the heck? Anyways, turns out I had preeclampsia. So when they induced me for labor, I don't know, it just wasn't good. My blood pressure just kept going higher and higher and higher and higher. And at one point, I was like, they did a really good job not letting me know how severe the situation was.
I was great at lying.
He was fantastic. I mean, like, he just played it cool. I thought it was a little weird that I couldn't have the shades up because they said even just having sunlight come into my room was like jacking my blood pressure too high. And so then
These were numbers north of 200.
Yeah, these were not good numbers. So at one point they came in and just lined the bed with pillows. And I was like, oh, that's so thoughtful. So many pillows so I could maybe take a nap. And it was really because they thought I was going to have a seizure and they didn't want me to like bang my head around on stuff. But I didn't know that. So then after 45 hours of labor, they were like, maybe you should think about it, that C-section. And I was like, okay, maybe I should. So we had an emergency C-section, but my blood pressure didn't go down the way that it was supposed to. When with preeclampsia, as soon as you deliver, it's supposed to kind of, fix itself, but it didn't. So eventually we got to go home, and my blood pressure was still pretty high. And then just one day it bottomed out. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. But I'm okay. And
So,
then we.
so I'm going to translate for the young college men that are on. Basically, she was pregnant, and bad stuff happened.
Yeah.
She almost died.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that
For clarifying.
that clears it up. Yeah, I've had 3 kids, and my wife is a baby doctor, and I've heard that term preeclampsia for 20 years, and I still am not really sure what it is. So anyway, it's something having to do with girl parts and a baby. And
Preeclampsia or pregnancy?
Uh-huh.
I said, which one, preeclampsia or pregnancy?
Yeah, but preeclampsia. I'm pretty up on the whole pregnancy thing.
Are you, Ron?
Yeah, I got that part figured out.
No, preeclampsia, there isn't like a medical reason, and there's not anything from what I understand, like genetically, like, so if I had it, it doesn't necessarily mean my girls will have it. It's just something that it happens, and usually it only happens for the first one. Especially if you are having multiple children with the same people. If for some reason he had like died and I had a baby with somebody else, I could potentially have preeclampsia again, but it's not usual. But anyways, it's just your blood pressure just goes really high, and it usually fixes itself after you have the baby. So no rhyme or reason. Just,
there you go.
Just because.
I don't think I had any other near-death experience. What do you think?
There was another time when I was like 4 or 5 where I swallowed a quarter and I couldn't get it out, and there was no one around watching me, but I coughed it out myself, and I was just like, I shouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
And then there was another time where I was out with my parents and we were waiting outside a restaurant with, like, the buzzer, because it was busy and you have to wait outside until they call you. I was eating a mint, like one of those peppermint circular mints, and I swallowed it, and right before I started choking, I said, I'm choking, and I started coughing. It like lifted me up and did the Heimlich maneuver, and I was like, ugh, and it came out. So
how old were you when this happened?
I think I was just maybe 6.
Have
the
you
quarter
figured out how to swallow things
The quarter
yet?
went up like 4 or 5.
I said, have you figured out how to swallow things yet?
Huh? Oh, geez. I would have hoped so.
I don't know. You just told me 2 stories that were pretty close together about you choking on crap.
I know. I haven't choked on anything else, since then, so I think I'm okay now.
All right.
There was that storm, that snowstorm,
Oh, snowstorm.
the one coming back from Rochester.
I stress slept through that. I have no recollection of that memory.
We were driving back from Rochester, New York, and we had our oldest in the car, so we were
He was like 4 months old.
yeah. And when you have young kids, there's this day that you figure out that if you drive through the night, they sleep in the car. And it's a great realization, except that means that you're driving through the night, like anytime you're driving far. Well, we were coming back. It was a 10 and a half hour trip in good conditions.
It's a lot.
And it started, we saw that it was going to snow in a big way. And when it snows in, upstate New York down through Pennsylvania, you get enough lake effect off of Lake Erie that it snows in a big, ugly way.
Right, Solis? Yeah. I know you know what I'm talking about. All right, sorry.
So we were there, and we knew a bunch of other people that were there too who were also going to have to be leaving the next day. We decided to leave and try and get out before the storm got bad. It was going just fine for a good long while, and then we couldn't see the road anymore. And I don't mean like the road 50 feet ahead. I mean the road like 5 feet ahead. But we luckily, somewhere between it being
I told you,
the middle
I
of the
stress
night.
slept through this, so I have
Yeah.
no idea what even. I saw that it was starting to snow, and I was like, I don't like this. I'm going to sleep.
So I was very fortunate and found a big salt truck and pulled in right behind it. And I followed that salt truck for maybe 100 miles.
And then we found out they closed that highway down after that.
Yeah.
Closed the freaking highway. I was like, seriously?
Yeah, that freeway they closed a little less than an hour behind us. And so our friends who were still there, who had to leave in the morning, ended up, what did it take them, 23 hours?
Oh, also, we called them to tell them to stop drinking and get in their car and, sober up and drive before the snowstorm got bad. But did they listen to Mama and Papa? No, they didn't. So it
wasn't even to stop drinking. It was don't start drinking, get in your car and leave now.
Guys get really crazy weather. I remember in 2012, something like we had about that much snow, and the entire country just stopped for weeks. Nothing happened at all. And you guys get like 7 foot of snow and you're still going. It's nuts.
So is there any part of England that gets snow?
No, not really. I mean, we haven't had snow since 2012. It's only really the mountains in Scotland that get anything. We just rain all the time. It's always mild and grey. Just rain every day.
But we found the money in Canada, and they get snow.
They get snow. They do get snow. That's true.
Well, what happened to Kevin? Kevin, if you can still hear me, no, Kevin.
Disconnect.
He went.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
He evidently Kevin has an issue with snow. Well, he was talking about Denver earlier and how much he hated snow. So there you go. But it's 11:30, so we've been on for an hour and a half. So we probably should call it. Before we do, Hammer and Sickle did do a question that seemed to be basically for me. Have I come to the terms that the fact that Clemson Tigers are and always will be better at American football than whichever sports teams I cheer for?
Sorry, I got a phone call.
He is referring to the fact that his Clemson Tigers beat the NC State Wolfpack this past Saturday, and I will answer him directly, and you can see our big communication after that. But welcome back, Kevin, as we are signing off. And
all right.
Yeah, and so thank you for being here, and Tom, thank you for being here. It was great meeting both of you guys, and let us know if you ever want to be on again.
Sure thing.
Cool, no problem. How does one watch this later? Because this is live right now, but like, how do I watch it if I want to watch it later?
Oh, there's a link at the bottom, in the bottom thread, and you can.
The bottom of the poll, the comment section on the poll.
It goes
Oh,
to
I
YouTube.
see. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
it'll be on the YouTubes for forever and forever. Amen.
Awesome.
Tom, go get some sleep. It's 4:30 in the morning.
I've
for
got
him.
a 10 o'clock lecture. I better get some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
6
Thanks you guys for having me.
Oh, you bet. It was fun. Good night to all.
And
Hi.
Good
Thank you
night.
for being on.
No
See you next
No
time.
problem.
problem.